Radical Muslims are planning a protest in front of the White House today. They are calling for Islamic Sharia law to be implemented across America. That is just one reason why some states are taking steps to protect the foundations of American government. In Tennessee, one lawmaker is trying to make it a felony to follow some parts of Islamic Sharia law. State Senator Bill Ketron says his proposal exempts the peaceful practice of Islam, but condemns those who take Sharia law to the extreme. Ketron says it would also give law enforcement a powerful counterterrorism tool. Opponents say the measure would effectively make it illegal to be Muslim in Tennessee. The bill is expected to face legal challenges if it passes.
The American Bar Association is planning to fight efforts to block Sharia law like that Tennessee bill we just mentioned. Anti-Sharia legislation is being considered in 14 states. The American Thinker reports the ABA has created a task force to fight those measures. They also plan to create talking points for activists who are opposing those bills.
Jordan Sekulow with the American Center for Law and Justice joins us now with more on this issue. Jordan, why would the American Bar Association want to back supporters of Sharia law?
Sure. A quick answer. They're a liberal activist organization, and the American Bar Association does not speak for every attorney here in the United States. They usually take pretty extremely progressive views, if you will, in redefining what law means in America.
But what is it about Sharia law that would be at all attractive to them?
You know what? It's this idea that somehow Sharia law and the Constitution are compliant, and you see this coming out of people like Imam Faisal Rauf. He became famous because of the Ground Zero Mosque. He left that project. Remember, we pay for him to tour the world. Our U.S. State Department pays for him to tour the world. And he's been speaking even regularly. I saw an interview he did with the Washington Post yesterday here in D.C., where he said to him, and he's supposed to be a great moderate, the Constitution and Sharia law, they're basically the same, the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, except for the fact, of course, he doesn't point out if you happen to be a woman, a religious minority, if you happen to take a different view of Islam than the leaders of your country, and the fact that Sharia law is not codified, so it can mean whatever Islamic leaders want it to mean to serve their own political interest.
All right, I know you were talking with me before the show about how we're already starting to see Sharia law in the U.S. What are you seeing?
There's a few different ways we see it. First, the Islamic financing industry, banking industry, all over the world, including right here in the United States of America. If you're going to law school right now, you see classes offered. It doesn't matter if you're at Regent University or Georgetown University here. At their school of law, you're seeing classes offered in Islamic finance law and, in general, Islamic law because of its impact already here in the United States. We've seen a New Jersey judge cite Islamic law as an excuse for someone to assault their wife. And now the efforts to stop Sharia law here in the United States are being opposed by groups that supposedly argue for civil rights for all. It is coming to America. It comes in small increments. So it starts with things like family law, inheritance law, and look to the UK, look what's happening in France, look to the speech given by Prime Minister David Cameron, look to President Sarkozy, Chancellor Merkel in Germany. All of them have criticized multiculturalism. All of those Western countries are dealing with Sharia law inside what are supposed to be secular states.
Jordan, as we mentioned before, a number of states, there's reports of as many as 14 that are looking at anti-Sharia legislation. What's the idea behind that?
Yeah, that's to stop judges primarily from allowing any excuses based on Sharia law. Now, there's lots of different ways you can do this. Some are going to be easier to defend in court than others. And what we've said at the American Center for Law and Justice, if you're a state legislator and you're serious about writing a law to stop judges from being able to use Sharia law in courts, come to us. Let us walk you through this because, as you see now, the American Bar Association, the ACLU, they've got their sights set on these anti-Sharia laws, and they're going to look for any holes in them to try to hold them unconstitutional. So what we've encouraged people is come to us early. Let us work with the law, through the law with you, so that make sure there's no holes for the ACLU and other outside groups to attack.
Okay. And Jordan, just clarify something for us, too. Isn't the establishment of Sharia law one of the main objectives of terrorists like Al-Qaeda?
Absolutely. And it's not just terrorist organizations. It's also groups that we may be working with. For instance, the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. That's their goal, to establish their version of Sharia law. It's interesting if you look at their bylaws. It says there's freedom of speech and there's freedom of political discourse if you happen to agree with them. That's what Sharia law is all about. There are the same freedoms in the Bill of Rights if you meet the criteria, which means you follow the political ideology of the Muslim government and you're not a woman.
Jordan, thanks so much. We're out of time. Jordan Sekulow with the American Center for Law and Justice.
Thank you.